Now that we've found who the real parent of the dragons is, what will be their legacy? Odin, though not considering the dragons fit to protect Azeroth, claimed they are born of gods. Was Odin right? Are the dragons prone to fall to corruption? Neltharion, Malygos, and Nosdormu, through their powers and actions, endangered this planet, or even the very fabric of reality. As for Ysera, she wasn't swayed by the whispers of the old gods. However, upon her transformation into a corrupted dragon of the dream, she could have served as the conduit for materializing the nightmare into reality. After her death, the divine intervention of Elun cleansed her body of corruption, but her spirit was trapped into the nightmare of her final moments. As in the case of Malorn, her spirit was confined in the rift of Aun. A substantial amount of anima was used to purify her dreams of this nightmare, and she was reborn into Ardenweald, bound to the realm of the Winter Queen. She cannot leave the winter of life for its summer anymore, unless her place is taken by another. As the world tree Amir Drasil, the crown of harmony, a window between death and life, blossomed into Azeroth beyond the dream, Ysera takes the mantle of a new aspect. She likely turned from aspect of the dream in the realm of life, position occupied now by her daughter Merithra, into a new aspect suitable for the nature's realm of death within the cycle of life. This transformation marked the beginning of a new relationship between Ysera and Merithra that will be mirroring the one shared by the Winter Queen and Elun. The 4 primal incarnates are proto-dragons who rejected the gift of the Titans and instead turned to the elements of the Isles. Raszageth became the incarnation of the storm in Issildar's heart. Impulsive and quick to inflict pain, she stormed alone into battle, both at the beginning of the First War and after her release from void imprisonment. Furak, embodying the fiery blood of Isildar, was prone to sudden bursts of anger and aggression, making him a dangerous and unpredictable adversary. His decisions were often driven by emotion rather than strategy, leading to a more chaotic and destructive approach. Iridikron infused his body with iridium that resulted from the fall of their colossal progenitor from the sky. The stone-scaled is less impulsive than Furak and Raszageth. His sole aim is to take revenge on the Titans, regardless of the means or consequences. Viranoth is infused with the waters of the Isles in their frozen form, bringing balance to the group. Thoughtful, patient, and collected, she belies her name Frozenheart as she cares for her siblings. She delayed her engagement in the War of the Scaleborn until Alexstrasza betrays her promise, leaving Viranoth no choice. The proto-dragons were imbued with the powers of Azeroth, but filtered through the influence of Titanic order and became dragons, or were instilled with the primal powers of Azeroth, influenced by the elemental magics that lingered after Isildar's death, and they became the primal incarnates. When the Titans created the dragon aspects, they divided the proto-dragons into 2 factions, those who embraced the Titans' order and those who did not. The proto-dragons who chose to infuse themselves with the primal elemental magics of the Isles were divided between those that would do anything against order and those who would care about the future of the proto-dragons. In their roles as protectors, some aspects struggled with the responsibilities bestowed upon them. The secrets of the earth kept by Neltharion from his brothers were not his to keep. Him making decisions by himself, his pride in keeping the burden of this world nature on his shoulders alone, opened the door to his heart for the old gods. Malygos wanted to take from mortals the magic that was not his to take. Nosdormu created the infinite dragonflight by taking advantage of the quest for power of some of his brood and the insecurities of most who found only servitude and despair in pursuing Eurozil's teachings. Was his drastic measure the only way to prevent our worst fate? The answer remains uncertain. the truth he saw is known by very few. These children of the Dragon Isles were in the past divided by fear of regressing to their primeval state, unyielding nature, ideals, or responsibilities. Now, as the leaders of these creatures have been given power from Azeroth, they are bound together by a shared commitment to protect the planet and its inhabitants. The very essence of Azeroth brings them in harmony, transcending divisions and forging a unified front. After the death of the incarnate Rasageth, Iridikron and his two remaining siblings found on the Forbidden Reach, in the Warcraft, an artifact that Neltharion hid from the other aspects, and was later used by Iridikron to siphon Galakron's essence. What Neltharion had hidden on the Forbidden Reach was probably crafted by Tyr, after losing a similar one to Galakron, and probably contained the essence of the serpent Isildur. It was used by the aspect of the Earth in his experiments in Aberrus, and maybe by Tyr previously in his own. 3 other items have to be mentioned here. The first is the octagonal relic found by Kalekos in the days after the Cataclysm, when the aspects lost their powers. It was buried under the ice, inside the ribcage of the long-dead Galakron. Crafted by Tyr, it was lost by the Keeper when his hand was bitten off by the behemoth. With this item, Tyr seized some of the essence of the 5 proto-dragons that became the first aspects just before their fight against Galakron. Despite being tainted by the vile essence of Galakron over the thousands of years it resided within his remains, the magic inside served its intended purpose bestowed by the Titanic Keeper. The relic reminded the despondent aspects of their true selves before the battle with Deathwing during the Cataclysm, ultimately restoring them as guardians of the world. It is believed to be in the possession of the Red Aspect. The second artifact is the Heart of Azeroth, titanic relic filled by a brave hero with her blood, her essence, a power of creation and destruction. With this power, the champion destroyed the body of the old god N'Zoth and sent Ny'alotha back to slumber. The third item is the demon soul that was crafted by Neltharion under the guidance of the old gods, and in which he siphoned the essence of the other dragon aspects. The demon soul was meant to kill or enslave the dragons, but was also used to destroy Deathwing and to power the portal inside the Well of Eternity, through which the Dark Titan was supposed to enter our world. If you examine the dragon soul created by Neltharion on the Dragon Isles, you will notice a serpent depicted and the pattern from the left corner of the triangle, drawn on the design found in the Lordaeron throne room. The design is most likely showing important celestial events. The item Iridikron gave to Xal'atath comprises the essence of Galakron and will be filled with the blood of the old gods. Besides enhancing the forms of the Nerubians living in Hallowfall, it will be used to either open a gate, destroy, or imprison. I will now offer some thoughts on where this gigantic serpent may have originated. The Vrykul story says she slithered up from the black pits of the earth. 2 important events have been described to form a huge crater on our planet's surface, both caused by Aman'thul, the ripping of Y'Shaarj from the crust of the earth, and the tearing of the tree Elun'ahir. When the Titanic forces battled the Black Empire, the Titan Forged succeeded in defeating and imprisoning the elemental lords. However, the power of Y'Shaarj to twist their thoughts and draw out their darkest emotions seemed to turn the tide of the war in favor of the old gods. Severe losses were inflicted to the Titan Forged by the relentless attacks of the old gods' forces, among which the Titan-forged keeper Njord, shown here in the Hall of Memories in Ulduar. His trident and the crown he's wearing could be the trident of deep ocean, and the Tempest Crown, artifacts were used to summon N'Zoth. Traces of his existence in the world are Njord's Breath Bay, a large bay south of Kaskala, found in the Borean tundra, and the item Njord Boots. Of course it had to be boots, since he doesn't seem to need any. Seeing the hard resistance the Titan forged endured, Aman'thul decided to tear the most powerful of the old gods from the surface of the planet, killing his physical body. A grave wound was caused to the planet, and the Titans realized that the old gods cannot be removed from her flesh, for this will bring her death. The wound formed was the Well of Eternity. The overflowing blood of the planet bathed the land. Those waters converged in the land of Pandaria, where the body of Y'Shaarj was laid. As he died, the breath of his 7 heads left behind 7 entities of darkness, the prime Shah: anger, hatred, violence, fear, doubt, despair, and pride. Ra-Den was charged to gather the parts of Y'Shaarj that fell on the planet and to cleanse the land of Pandaria from the corruption still exuding his corpse. The surge of energy from the waters of the well coalesced in regions where the bodies of the old gods, or maybe other shadowy influences, lay beneath the earth's crusts, such as Ungoro, Sholazar Basin, Thaldrassus, and the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, and maybe the Barrens. The well accelerated the cycles of growth and rebirth, and before long, it caused sentient beings to evolve from the land's primitive life forms. Near the temple of Elun in Suramar, there once existed a woodland named Gahan. It was within this forest that our leader, Malfurion Storm Rage, roamed during the early days of his druidic training. The connection between reality and the dream was particularly strong here. One possible reason is that in the ethereal counterpart of this place, within the Emerald Dream, there was Gahanir. When the Titans wounded the planet, the energies of the dream surged into reality, giving birth to this forest. It was destroyed by the implosion of the Well of Eternity 10 millennia ago. This catastrophic event, coupled with the death of Aviana, ultimately led to the demise of the Mother Tree itself. It is possible that the serpent goddess emerged from beneath what is now recognized as Suramar when Y'Shaarj was ripped from the planet's crust. Originating in the Emerald Dream, the serpent initially took the form of an arbor worm. However, the corrupted blood of Y'Shaarj and the darkness he held within eventually transformed her into an immense creature made of flesh. Gahanir was planted in the Emerald Dream to help shape the ethereal realm. We are told that it was Freya, not a Titan, who did so. However, one of the Titans did plant a world tree, as recounted in the legend of Elun'ahir, a chronicle detailing the genesis of the first world tree, which is probably depicted here in Dalaran. This tree was planted by Elun'ahir using a branch from Gahanir, gifted to her by the moon goddess herself. According to the legend, Elun'ahir sought to restore the world and banish the darkness of the old gods. Extending her hand, she shaped the soil of Azeroth and planted the branch in a location where it could flourish on high ground, close to the skies, nourished by the waters overflowing from the Well of Eternity. Swiftly, the branch blossomed into a magnificent tree, with roots delving deep into the earth, giving rise to new life wherever they extended. Yet Aman'thul accused her of sowing unbridled chaos upon the world. He forcefully uprooted the tree, causing Elun'ahir to weep tears of sorrow that cascaded into the resulting crater. Though the tree was destroyed, Elun'ahir realized that its resilient roots remained firmly entrenched beneath the soil, so she was pleased, knowing Elun's legacy would endure. Underground, the roots absorbed Elun'ahir's tears, growing ever stronger. Over time, enigmatic guardians appeared, dedicating their lives to safeguarding these roots. Those guardians were the wild gods and the ancient walking trees, which are guardians of nature and lawkeepers. Since the massive forested peak of Mount Hyjal was the original refuge and sacred place to the wild gods, protected and watched over by Freya shortly after the ordering of Azeroth, I think this is where Elun'ahir was planted. The region was therefore elevated by the fingers of Elun'ahir, and the mountain now bears a huge crater instead of sharp peaks because the High Father pulled the tree from its summit. The resultant crater was filled with Elun'ahir's tears, which flooded in Moonglade, giving birth to Lake Elun'ahir, were frozen in winter spring and were absorbed by the roots in High Jarl. There is one particular detail that needs to be mentioned, though. The area where the tree was planted is above the location where the entrance to the Rift of Eln is, since we entered it through the Lake Elun'ahir in Moonglade. This could be the chaos Aman'thul spoke of. It is possible that here was the location of another old god, one that managed to escape through the rift when the Titans arrived near Azeroth. Maybe there is a reason why the Titans will not pursue it inside the rift, but Elun'ahir tried to seal the rift and provide help to neutralize the spread of its corruption by planting the first world tree. The massive magical trees are used to absorb and channel the energies of the place they grow on. They can provide healing, balance, rest, tranquility, sustenance for life, and rebirth, as we see in Ardenweald. As in the case of Njord, a world tree can temper immense arcane energies. Those trees have been used to imprison rageful creatures, as Malfurion did with the Worgen, or to diminish the strength of negative powers, as Fandral Staghelm wanted in an ill-advised attempt. Evidence of an old god presence in the area is abundant, notably seen in the Wailing Caverns, Maraudon, Black Fathom Deeps, Razorfen, the taint that affected Teldrassil, and the locations where druids are trying to heal the land in Desolus and the Barrens. Either the latter location was barren before the planting of the first tree, and its remaining roots along with Elun'ahir's tears nourished the land, or the region now called the Barrens, with its surrounding lands, became desolate after Aman'thul killed the tree. Was Isildur born from this violent act of Aman'thul? Was she already gnawing at the roots of the world tree and was released with its uprooting? Is there any link between her and the chaotic energies from the Rift of Eln, the Rift of the Water Lily, that we have access to through the vision of Elun'ahir in the Emerald Dream? With this in mind, we'll conclude this chapter here. We'll reconvene to explore an even more interesting origin of the Serpent Isildur and undisclosed lore details that promise to change things we thought we knew.